Top 15 Laws from the book 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Have you ever heard of the famous book The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, an essential guide among politicians, CEOs, and social media influencers worldwide? Instead of just being popular, this book is a handbook for anyone who wants to master strategy, influence, and control. But who has time to read through all 48 laws? That's why we've condensed the best of this powerhouse guide into the top 15 most impactful laws you need to know. Get ready to understand why this book is pointed to by power players everywhere and how these top rules can change how you use power forever. Number 15. Assume formlessness. This is the ticket to seeing you through to success and staying on top. You become very easy to defeat when strictly sticking with an image, plan, or way. It creates a pattern someone else can use to defeat you. Instead, keep thoughts and strategies fluid. In this way, you are unknowable, ungraspable, for nobody can figure out what you will do. Be water. Adapt to any situation. Move when the time is right, and only then can you avoid captivity or resistance. Its power lies in its ability to shape itself around obstacles so that no one can ever gain control over it. Rigidity, on the one hand, invites predictability, hence making you so easy to defeat and rendering you immobile in a world of constant change. History is full of examples of how the rewards always go to the quickest adapters, like agile guerrilla forces or leaders who adapt quickly. Create a mindset of continuous reinvention and agility. Number 14. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Understanding people's weak points hidden behind their seemingly unbreakable facades is key for effectively using your influence. We all have a sore spot, a single emotional need, an ulcerative fear, a secret desire that, once found, is played on like a musical instrument. But to find that sore spot, you must observe closely and listen carefully. People unintentionally reveal their weaknesses through gestures, looks, and asides. From that instant, you are in control without being confrontational, able to influence their behavior with invisible strings. Talleyrand, the consummate diplomat, practiced this when he would reveal minor secrets in the hopes that others would respond in kind, and thereby expose their weaknesses and deep-seated desires. Remember to use knowledge like this with discretion and tact. To hammer at a person's weakness with associated relentless pressure is asking for bitter resentment and a vengeful counterattack. Conversely, a clever but careful use of this knowledge of these tender spots puts you under subtle influence over them. This subtle art guarantees that you will be able to mold the situation to your benefit. Weaken some hostile elements, neutralize difficult fellows, and forge friendships with others, all without obtrusive use of force. Develop this well, and it will be a deathless asset to the negotiator, persuader, and leader. Number 13. Plan all the way to the end. Success comes from planning the whole journey, even before a single step is taken. This law requires thinking way ahead, strategy over mere impulsiveness, to consider any eventuality, hindrances, and the result of your actions, so these shall not hold you up along the road. Impulsive behavior and further reacting to whatever situations come your way bring about myopia, failures, or others harvesting what you have laid on the ground. The great historical leaders knew well in advance what was to come, and thus averted crises with aplomb, consolidating long-term success. By thinking to the end, you stay in control of your fate and get to make smooth course corrections that preserve momentum for the attainment of goals. Proper planning avoids knee-jerk emotive decisions, allowing for clarity and stability under stressful demands. At all times, visualize your goals and the perfect ending, and know when to stop or change tack altogether. By taking the time to anticipate all events, especially failures, one will always be able to find alternative ways out of an uneasy situation. It is in mastering the details of planning that power is ensured, victory guaranteed, and you are set to weather any challenge. Number 12. Recreate yourself. True power, however, does not come from allowing society or circumstance to define you, but rather from taking the reins and creating for yourself an identity that inspires and demands attention. History is full of examples of people reimagining their lives this way. The painter Velázquez and the writer George, using this gift of reinvention to transcend the bounds placed upon them and create something truly remarkable. The law works by helping you create your persona with intention, using self-awareness and a touch of drama to create an image that commands attention and respect. Being the sculptor in this regard means that you continually reinvent and readjust to keep from becoming predictable and, thus, disinteresting. It is a proactive scenario wherein nobody else tells you who you must be or typecasts you into a niche. Remember, your identity is yours to design. It's up to you to mold it like a sculptor molds the clay, developing those aspects of yourself that are the best and continue to grow with time. By shaping your narrative, you maintain that you cannot be forgotten, decorous, and powerful. Reinvention is a process, but to stay the same is to stay stuck. Number 11. Play the perfect courtier. To succeed amidst power-based milieus, one has to learn how to become the consummate courtier, learning to be charming, diplomatic, and well-placed. The authentic courtier advances by making others, especially superiors, feel their importance and worth. They act tactfully and subtly, masking their intentions in loyalty and devotion. The good courtier knows when to use flattery, when to yield, and how to plant an idea in another's mind without arousing envy or creating enemies. One should avoid excessive pomp, instead perfecting the art of earning admiration and trust. In this way, the courtier advances without stirring up opposition and envy. Indeed, the true courtier instinctively knows when to adapt himself to others and the blows of fortune so that he does not fall into bad fortune. Practice the art of diplomacy, diffusing situations smoothly and placing yourself in a position to be an indispensable asset. Live in an atmosphere of selflessness. Others' successes will benefit you. Number 10. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Sometimes, acquiring a strategic advantage requires making yourself appear less intelligent than you are. People who think themselves smarter than you are confident, therefore lowering their guard. This gives you perfect opportunities to maneuver and act without raising suspicion. This also generally works when you are in a lowly position but have higher ambitions. Historical figures like Claudius of Rome were masters at this play. They put up the flag of simplicity and weakness until the proper time, whereby the opponent could not tell what hit him. The idea is never to look simply stupid, but rather harmless and humble. Most of all, one can gain trust, blend in, and position themselves. When the time is right, make a clear move, catching people off guard and overwhelming them with your final display of power. Hide your true abilities until the right time to reveal them for the best result. In this way, by subtle play, you can work cleverly into both social and professional worlds, utilize your underestimated moments, and achieve lasting success without ever confronting anyone directly. Number 9. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Isolation may make one feel safe, but is a path to weakness and defeat. To be strong, one needs to attend, participate, and observe. Through presence, alliance, and contact, that power is achieved by going alone. This is shown by Louis XIV, who created spaces to move within and gather information so he would never be at a disadvantage or in danger. Isolation hides threats from you, cuts you off from wider resources, and you become an easy target. You go out of sight in your withdrawal, become overly dependent on a small circle of people, and invite unforeseen dangers due to a lack of diverse insight. At all costs, instead, avoid staying behind walls. Step out, meet people, and build a network that cements your position. Power works in an open environment, nourished by an interrelated web of relations, informing and safeguarding these. One must always be in motion and active in nurturing networks of relationships that may protect and raise one when the time is right. Number 8. Use absence to increase respect and honor. for continual presence makes you familiar, and to be familiar is to be disrespected. If you would preserve respect and esteem, withdraw and be rare. The highest pitch is soon sounded. Richness is no longer riches after a while, for the glut doth take away the gust, and rarity gives estimation. Leaders like Charles V and celebrities like Greta Garbo knew precisely how to use that principle to disappear at the height of their fame, maintain mystery around their personas, and gain more respect than other human beings. Yet, after all is said and done, you must develop a keen sense of when and how long to withdraw. Withdraw too soon, and people will forget you. Wait too long, and you are no longer relevant. Developing this kind of balance will let your absence build anticipation and excitement for when you might reappear. Absence creates room for influence and an image becoming more valuable to others. Absence rejuvenates interest and helps people notice one's real value. Number 7. Do not commit to anyone. Do not commit to anyone or anything. True power requires freedom and detachment. Commitment locks you into a position and limits your flexibility. Keep people guessing, and they will naturally vie for your attention. The more independent you are, the more you can play people against each other. Historical figures, like Queen Elizabeth I, led their lives based on this rule, flirting with many suitors, but never committing to just one. In that way, she kept everything under her control and was able to negotiate favorable alliances. When you are not committed, others may well chase after you. You hold the position of power and desirability, accept attention and gifts, but at no time do you have to feel obligated. Let engagement be on your terms to enable you to observe, stay above conflicts, and make calculated decisions. People may misinterpret it as being distant, but from this respect will come, and even more importantly, the timing for action when it is most favorable. Number 6. Win through your actions, never through argument. Of course, winning arguments seldom feels like winning because the resentment created usually makes those victories temporary. The most influence you have within an institution or among your peers is when you can model it rather than argue for it. Actions have an impact. They are undeniable proof, and no words can refute them. Where words would explain, showing builds trust, garners admiration, and etches your credibility unto the minds of others, momentum words alone may not have achieved. Even when the arguments are won, they leave others feeling diminished, and a residue of resentment and tortured relationships can result. Clear, ambitious, compelling action proves your strength and capability, and people will more naturally follow your lead and respect you because of it. History is full of examples of this. Michelangelo, for one, who, instead of getting into arguments over his merits as an artist, would simply show off his skills and thus silence any debate. Train yourself to make the argument. This way, harmony will be maintained, and you'll stay above trivial conflicts while you build a reputation for being a solid achiever. Number 5. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards. Control means giving the impression of free choice, subtly leading people to conclusions that benefit your advantage. Options are presented, making others feel they are making decisions for themselves. Their confidence remains intact, and their resistant tendencies are toned down. You are meanwhile engineering their choices to coincide with your purpose. The authorities have mastered this game of playing their influence invisible. Henry Kissinger does. Limit their choices where both paths have advantages leading to you. You can do this by framing a decision, forcing the alternatives to be narrowed down, or giving dilemmas where any option works to your advantage. That happens in negotiations, leadership, and basic interactions with people. Compliance is built, but softly, situations also come out in your favor. Individuals do not question or resist a course of action as much when they feel they are acting out of their free will. The trick is knowing the means of control so well that the outcome may be assured without appearing overly strong-handed. Number 4. Court attention at all costs. Power derives from visibility, while to be overlooked is to be impotent. To a society in which reality is merely a matter of perception, being seen and salient is essential. Observe. The man who makes his presence felt, who acts decisively, who has a style all his own, who commits scandalous acts, a man who will be seen and remembered. Individuals like P.T. Barnum were masters of this law, knowing full well that all publicity negative or positive serves enhance one's presence and power. The real enemy is obscurity and not criticism. To notice, one has to be noticeable and memorable strike people through an identity that strongly stamps itself. Fashion for yourself a striking and unforgettable character, full of daring and originality, combine it with audacity. Yet, do not fall into predictability. Let people guess what you will do next. Change the manner of your life. Of course, this sometimes invites criticism, but herein lies the key to your strength. You are unforgettable, and thus, on the larger stage, you get to control your narrative and foster strength. Be bold. Remain aggressive in a show of presence. Number 3. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Your reputation is your strongest armor. It enhances all that's good about you and shields you from harm. A good reputation, provided it is sound and wholesome, earns respect from or instills fear in others to give you an edge without saying it. In line with this, concentrate on one salient trait, like honesty or wit, and make it known as your name to all those around you. Historical figures from Erwin Rommel to P.T. Barnum made excellent use of their reputation in maintaining positions and exercising influence in the most adverse circumstances. Safeguard your name by always keeping it well policed. Prepare for attacks and neutralize them before they start. If attacked, appear to yield but cunningly thrust every opponent to expose weaknesses in their reputations while keeping your own unblemished. If your reputation is ever under siege, take up the flag and join ranks with people of good standing and strong character to recreate and strengthen your image anew. Bear in mind that a good reputation enables you and sometimes opens doors, whereas lacking it makes you vulnerable and less influential. Number 2. Conceal your intentions. Hiding your intentions is of major importance for freedom of action and strategy. Most people proclaim their hopes and desires and are easily read and predictable. If you want people to do your bidding, learn the art of discretion. Keep your most valuable plans and intentions shrouded in mystery. Set up distractions and false leads to confuse people about where you are headed. Discuss unrelated goals or relate insignificant information to appear open and unthreatening. This tricks the weaker predators and justifies their reason to feel at ease. Keep an unreadable, composed expression that does not allow others to read into your intentions. The reward in using this tactic is huge in terms of the number of those around you being successfully manipulated. Greater control and less resistance. People who do not know what you will do cannot prepare against you. Employ misdirection and be unpredictable. Through your mysterious nature, you will always gain the upper hand from the rest and achieve your goals with nobody's knowledge. Remember, while your movements are unexplained, you have the upper hand and can act when people expect it least. Number 1. Never outshine the master. Not to jeopardize the preservation and development of your power, you should not keep those above you in a state where they feel insecure and inferior. It may be claimed that outshining your superiors instigates envy and fear, and therefore, their begrudging admiration will become a hidden threat. Not only does intentional brilliance, but even brilliant action from an underdog often causes resentment and leads to failure, as recently happened to Fouquet and Astori Manfredi. Instead, by the flattery of subtlety, apparent reliance upon his rule, and crediting him with successes, you render your master indispensable and wise. That makes them firmer in themselves, which is a protection against her at you. Perfect the art of discretion. Let your achievements speak for themselves and your master. But the actual wisdom lies in making them feel they are the brainier of the two, and it keeps you safe while being in their good books. Let your influence increase while being in their shadow, but place yourself strategically until the time is right to break out and unleash your full abilities. It takes a mix of patience, humility, and careful planning. Never think that being in favor or love gives you liberty. Be wise, stand in self-control, and strengthen your position by respecting those in power. Thanks for sticking around to find out the top 15 laws from the 48 Laws of Power. Have you ever read this book or been surprised by any of those laws? We'd like to hear from you. Your thoughts, questions, or personal experiences are welcome. Leave them in the comments below. Which one of the following rules most interested you if you haven't read this classic yet? Hit that subscribe button for deeper insights into influential reads and strategies shaping the power game. See you in the next video.